What's going on, everyone? Lalit here. Bitcoin is zooming up in price, and so we're going to talk about why this is the case and what you may want to consider in terms of increasing your position in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies in general. With that, I'll bring back one of these segues from earlier in the channel. So with that, I'll see you on the other side. All right. So we got three reasons here on the board, and what I wanted to highlight was essentially three fiat-based reasons, aka USD, going into Bitcoin that has been influencing Bitcoin's zoom up in price in recent past as well as right now as we speak. So first on that list, we got MicroStrategy. So on September 14, 2020, a little more than a month ago from the time of this recording, they purchased 16,796 additional Bitcoins, which became 175 million in terms of their aggregate purchase price. But the point here is how they're using this Bitcoin. So basically, they have a new policy, and it's highlighted over here. They adopted a new treasury reserve policy that updated the company's treasury management and capital allocation strategies, where one of them was comprising of cash, cash equivalents, and short-term investments, where the second type consists of Bitcoin held by the company, with Bitcoin serving as the primary treasury reserve asset on an ongoing basis, subject to market conditions and anticipated needs of the business for cash assets, including future potential share repurchase activity. So they could repurchase shares, and this is a publicly traded company, MicroStrategy, with the same Bitcoin they bought today. But more importantly, this company, which is publicly traded, is actually keeping Bitcoin in terms of cash reserve and actually classifying it as that on the balance sheet, which is pretty impressive. Second, you got Square. Square invested $50 million into Bitcoin. Now, you can buy Bitcoin on Cash App, which is owned by Square, and I'll leave out most of this information as the point is Bitcoin is zooming up in price, and what do you want to do? So this is the second piece. And the third piece of news is, if you heard about it already, it's pretty popular, but basically PayPal coming into the picture. Yesterday's announcement. Today we're announcing the launch of a new service that will enable customers to buy, hold, and sell cryptocurrency directly from your PayPal account. So this was probably one of the biggest news in terms of more of the retail investors really getting in, because now you have that clout of Square and PayPal and these bigger type of fintech companies coming into the space. So here we are with the price action live. So 13,163.64 bucks. If you observe over here, look at the spread. It's crossing over $1, and I was on the screen just a few minutes ago, and it's like $2, $3 spreads even. So that's crazy. And so the spread, basically, really quick, bid and ask spread, is basically what someone is willing to sell their coin and what someone is willing to buy the coin at. And so with the equal spread, or kind of this 1 penny spread, it's more normal when there's highly liquid markets, aka there's so much volume going through right now, the spread is lower. But depending on the certain supports and resistance of the graph, this spread number has been changing heavily within these last few minutes when I saw it, but as well as the last hour in general and otherwise. So the live price on Coinbase was 13,169 that we saw. And I'm on Yahoo Finance right now, and it has it as 13,161. But that aside, the point here is this, and why I want to mention why this price or this price region area is that important. So looking at the overall graph for Bitcoin, you have over here on December 4th, 2017, you have 11,916. And then literally, if you go to 12.5, 1 day later, you go to 14,291. And so that's almost, what, $2,300 difference. But the point is, it zoomed from around that 11,916 straight, closing at 14,291, and it skipped that whole price region of 13,161/169. And so the next time it touches it is, you're talking about all the way over here, where you have it on 1/14/2018 at 13,819. And then you have like a local support over here at 12,952, around that 12,9, 13,1 region. And you have it over here at 13,831. So the point at what I'm trying to get at here is, with the price sitting at 13,161, the first time it passed that price, there was no resistance. It just zoomed straight to it. And so when it goes $2,000 gap up, $2,300 gap up, you're talking about no real indication of, well, if it's in this area, what's going to happen? It's kind of this fugazi of, is it going to go up rapidly from here, aka to the moon, or is it going to bottom and hit another support? Again, you're talking around this 11,916, or if we're being considered around 13,000 levels, you're talking about 13,831. It can get up there and at least reach that old support, but in this case, it would be that kind of new resistance but there's no telling what's going to happen. And so with this kind of fugazi middle area, what should you do? So I think what needs to happen, and this is with anything, right? With all the news that's going on in terms of your retail investors, big banks, you got Wall Street, you have everyone kind of entering this space of trying to get into more Bitcoin or Bitcoin space, decentralized finance, the Ethereum blockchain. There's so many factors and so many moving parts that are going on. And so the point here is, if you're trying to get into Bitcoin now, it's not a good or bad idea, but with anything that's zooming to these quote unquote local all-time highs, it kind of gets that feeling of FOMO and fear of missing out. And so that's nothing new over here. So what should you do? In the end, it depends on why you're getting into it or what the point of the investment is. If you're passive and you want to keep 1% to 10% in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies in general, then I think dollar cost averaging is going to be the way to go. But if you're trying to trade or do something of this type of nature, understand that with the volatile markets, there's a lot of money to be made. But if you call it wrong, you may be in the dip phase for just a little. And of course, we always hear buy the dip, buy the dip. But if you're getting in too high of a price, then your average price is already going to be where it is, and you're going to be trying to average down. And there's nothing wrong with averaging up, where, for example, if this dips from 13K back to, let's say, towards that 11K type of region before it broke out, then, hey, you can buy it over there, but is it going to go there anytime soon? So it all comes back to these type of questions and what to do. So moreover, with the interest of what's going on with decentralized finance, with the Ethereum blockchain, and now just released today's news with Coinbase offering WBTC, aka wrapped BTC, and I'll get into this in future videos, but with so many new additions, so much news going on, and so much quote-unquote hullabaloo that's been going on in the news and everything, I think that the best plan of action is, if you have a long position or want to have a long position, don't worry. Dollar cost average, go for it. Don't FOMO. We've been there in 2017. What happens? And I'm releasing this video, and tomorrow, we already know Bitcoin could correct all the way to 11.5, 11, maybe 12, that 12K, that region. And it can also zoom up to 15K by the time we see this. So with that, I'll just cut it short here, but hopefully there was some value. Leave any comments in leave any questions in the comments below. You know how it is. But we'll see you soon enough, and cue the outro. Okay. Peace.